Children at play, siblings building loving relationships, close bonds between parents and kids, shaping young lives and passing down life's lessons to the next generation. These are the endearing images that most of us conjure up as we're about to become parents.
It's this, and I want one.
You do?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I want one now.
But there's another side to parenting that we rarely consider ahead of time, or at least not until we have children of our own.
No, she hit me!
Stop it! When is it going to stop?
Did you just throw Denise's book on the floor?
No. Can we get any candy, Mommy?
No, we're not going to get any candy.
Yes, we are.
Nancy Samalin, a pioneering parent educator, has been giving speeches and offering introductory and advanced workshops for parents of toddlers through teens for more than 20 years. Married and the mother of 2 children, she discovered firsthand how difficult it is to be a parent.
I was a teacher for 14 years. I liked kids a lot. I thought I was a pretty smart person. I prided myself on doing things well. So I knew that when I became a parent, I would be the Mother of the Year. They would pin the Nobel Prize for motherhood on my chest. I would never yell, nag, bribe, plead, threaten, criticize, argue, or punish. My children would love one another, and they would love me. And then I became a parent. And I had my children exactly a year apart. I discovered things about myself that I had never known before. I discovered I had a terrible temper. I never knew that until I became a parent.
Nancy went on to develop a unique system of parenting techniques that she's been teaching for well over 2 decades with extraordinary success. A contributing editor for almost 10 years to Parents magazine, she is also the author of 3 best-selling, critically acclaimed parenting books that have been published in 7 languages. She's been featured in countless newspapers and magazines and frequently appears on national radio and television programs, including Good Morning America, The Today Show, CBS This Morning, Good Day New York, CNN, Dateline, and 2020. When expert advice is called for, Nancy Samalin has the answers.
Get in the seat now!
The kids seem not to listen.
Seemed. The kids didn't listen at all. They totally tuned her out. They were mother deaf.
She talks too much.
Yes. You know, she has no credibility.
So what should you do?
Button it.
Don't go on and on about the seatbelt.
Instead, make a statement. Lower your voice if you can, like a man does. In your seat.
Short, simple, clear.
Less palaver and more action.
Discipline that works, it's what every parent is looking for. This morning we have some help for you from Nancy Samalin. So does spanking work?
You know, one father who was in my workshop said if spanking worked, you'd only have to do it once. And I think that is a little simplistic, but the reason that it doesn't work, Paula, is that one of the things that kids learn in terms of how to behave is by watching us. And what they learn from us is if we spank, they can hit. And it's very hard to say the rule in this family is no hitting when you're hitting your kids.
Is there any really good way to prepare a child for the impending birth of a brother or sister?
Well, I think parents do an excellent job. They try. You know, they read them books, they introduce them to other new babies. One of the things that I think they should be careful of not doing is trying to say, this is going to be so wonderful, and you're going to have a friend for life, and you're going to have someone to play with, and won't this be great? Because it's really hard to share Mommy and Daddy.
As a keynote speaker, Nancy draws on lessons learned through her own experiences and the experiences of many thousands of parents with children of all ages who have attended her lectures and workshops.
The other day, for example, somebody in my workshop whose child has been somewhat toilet trained. It's a boy, so he misses a lot. So she said to the group, how can I get my kid to pee in the toilet rather than around it? Somebody else said, I've got a solution for you. Just play Sink the Submarine. Put a Cheerio in the toilet, and it'll work every time.
With a hands-on approach that combines practical advice with an upbeat and humorous speaking style, Nancy's presentations focus on providing skills and information that parents can use to enhance their love and good intentions.
You all know the theory. Be firm but fair, discipline with love, present a united front, try to keep your cool. All those things we do if we can. But theory is really not very helpful. It's what do you do to get through the day, to get through the minute, to have 5 minutes fewer power struggles and 5 minutes more a day enjoying your children.
I think what makes Nancy's approach so special is that she comes at this as a mother first, and having heard her speak to groups and having taken her seminars and of course having edited her work and worked with her, I find that she's always bringing it back to a real mom's experience.
When your child is acting out, you can't go to a book and look up some philosophical idea and say, this would be good to use. You need a statement. You need something to pop into your head immediately, and Nancy's ideas come to mind very quickly.
In the last 2 decades, Nancy Samalin has spoken to more than 600 organizations, including corporations, schools, hospitals, and other institutions. Time after time, she has demonstrated her ability to create instant rapport with her audiences. Bob Zeiser, Director of Development at the Far Hills Country Day School, said this:
"Our parents have been raving about your presentation. Your insight and common sense approach really hit home for many attending. It's no wonder that this was the largest crowd we ever had for this event."
Linda Braun, Executive Director of Families First, had this to say:
"You have a wonderful way of using anecdotes of parents' everyday dilemmas to illustrate effective parenting techniques. And of course, the skills you teach are useful in all relationships, not just those with children."
Donald B. Robertson, headmaster of the Walker School, put it this way:
"We had high expectations and you surpassed them all. In our quest to present an informative, entertaining program for our parents, you satisfied our every desire."
And Marlene Baez, a human resources specialist at Arthur Anderson, said this:
"Out of the many speakers we have had, you are by far the most dynamic. You are the one individual who kept our audience captive with all those wonderful experiences and anecdotes."
The other day, my son said to me, now that he knows a lot of kids from college and he's visited their homes and he's seen their parents, he said, "You two guys are the best. I want to tell you, I wanted to burst out crying. It was so wonderful. And it was because I was lucky enough to meet someone who had the answers. And I was also smart enough to listen to those answers." For further information about Nancy Samalin's speeches and workshops, please refer to the enclosed print material. And for more excerpts from Nancy's actual presentations, please stand by.
Our job is not to make our children happy. It would be lovely if we could always do that. But our job is sometimes not to make them happy and give them permission not to like you. Actually, the fact of the matter is that we are the party poopers of our children's lives. You know, we are their wet blankets. If we're doing our job, we are saying no when they want us to say yes. We're making them go to bed when they want to stay up. We're turning off the television. We're saying, no, you can't watch that R-rated movie. Do your children ever say to you, "I hate you"? Then you're going in the right direction. You're doing something right. Don't fall into the happiness trap. Whenever you are angry, furious, disappointed, stressed out, just fed up with your child, try not to use the word "you" plus something negative. "You're impossible. You're driving me crazy. You're just like your Uncle Abe. You know what happened to him." "You are sloppy. You are a spoiled brat. You'll never learn. Wait till you have children like yourself." Now, not only is this not effective, but what we're telling children is that something is wrong with them, and we're holding up this mirror which says, "You're a disappointment to me," and they will believe us. But what can you do instead? There's always something you can do instead. Talk about yourself or keep it short. I'm mad versus you're bad. I'm furious. I don't like that. I won't be spoken to like that. Or make a brief, impersonal statement. The rule is no hitting. I'm not starting the car until everyone is belted in. The law says you've got to go to school. You know, the most wonderful thing, when you have a child who is upset or complaining, and this works very well with spouses too, don't argue. Just give them a therapeutic grunt. Oh. You never have anything good to eat in the house. I know. Gee. Another mother in one of my workshops who has a 14-year-old who hates some of the very reasonable limits that this really wonderful mother sets. One day was complaining about how mean and horrible her mother was, and she said, "You're the meanest mother in the class." And her mother said, "Well, you know, the M in mother stands for mean." And that's what I mean by having broad shoulders. But even worse, another parent in one of my adolescent workshops says that one of her children was so furious one day that he said to her, "You are worse than that mother who drowned her kids in the lake." You know what this mother said? "I don't think this is a good weekend to go to the beach." As one father said, if you're not selective, you're not effective. Now, I wasn't going to read you this example because most of you don't have grown children yet, but at some point you will. And this is my favorite example of if you're not selective, you're not effective, or focus on the essential. This is a letter that was written by a freshman in college to her parents. It goes like this. "Dear Mom and Dad, I'm sorry I haven't written sooner, but it's been very hectic since the fire. My bandages come off on Thursday, and hopefully there won't be too much scarring. I lost almost all my belongings, but luckily I met Norman across the street, who said I could live with him until I get back on my feet. We have become very close. Norman did more than save me. He has become my whole life. We are planning on getting married soon, before my pregnancy shows." Oh, yes, I am pregnant. I know you'll be excited for me knowing how much you want to be grandparents. We'd probably be married already if it weren't for Norman's infection. It prevented him from passing the premarital blood test. I think I caught the virus, but the doctors are pretty sure it won't affect the child. I love you both very much. Your loving daughter, Susie. Oh, do you want to hear the P.S.? I'm going to read it to you. P.S. There was no fire. I am not pregnant. There is no Norman. However, I am getting a D in chemistry. I will tell you that I only practice what I preach about 10 or 20% of the time. But the good news is even when you make it a terrible mistake or you blow it, or no matter how good your intentions are, because you're human, there are going to be those moments when you do or say something you thought you would never do. You know, only those other parents would do that. I would never do that. But kids can be very irritating, and you lose it. Don't say to yourself, "I'm a terrible mother, I'm a horrible father." Say to yourself, "Well, I blew it." You can even say that to your child. But I'm going to get another chance, and maybe I can do it differently the next time. And the good news is that you will always get a next time sooner than you would like.